The year was 2001. The date was Sunday the 25th of March. The band was the Deftones at the Manchester Apollo. And the supporting act, standing, it was the Back to School tour. Guess who supported them? Taproot. And the band that Kerrang were absolutely raving about everywhere. People were talking about them in Affleck's Palace in Manchester. People were talking about this band everywhere. The band was our very own Linkin Park. I first heard One Step Closer just after Broken Home by Papa Roach on VH1's Friday Night Rock Show. And after that, I was absolutely hooked. I was convinced they'd just be a regular support act, but they blew the Deftones off stage that night for me. They were streets ahead in terms of marketing. Linkin Park became a generational outfit that basically they were the band of the generation. And that was planned. No, it wasn't. That wasn't planned, by the way. Absolutely not, but how cool was that? I was part of the Linkin Park dojo. I always called it the LP dojo because the dojo was like, for me, it was all about the rising sun. Linkin Park, everything about Linkin Park was manga, very Asian in the vibes. Obviously, they had Asian members, and it was like a dojo. It felt like that. Everything was so supremely technical, skilled, crafted, precise, and that was how they were live. They went from killing the rock hammering to absolutely destroying every element in terms of stagecraft, mic technique, sound layers, samples, attire, where everything was about futuristic and laying the seeds for soundscapes as opposed to just songs. So let's do an album ranking. That was cool as hell, I'm not going to lie. Linkin Park became the biggest nu metal band of all time and one of the biggest rock bands of a generation. They changed, and here we're going to reveal my favourite albums in linking with all that, basically. This was fantastic. We all miss Chester. It's going to get emotional at some point because he was a unique vocalist who had a childlike vibe about him, very childlike vocals, very sincere, and so some of the best screams and the best pitching I've ever heard. And they were absolutely brilliant live. They were right on it. I hope those CDs don't fall in the background. Notice the Folk Minor and the LP live CDs. So we're going to get on it. I've got back into 2001 mode, as you can tell. And let's go with number 8 album ranking. It's an album that you won't be surprised is there. It's One More Light. It doesn't make it a bad album. It's just not a great piece of work for me. It's good, it's light, if you are into that light sort of Morley poppy rock. New Radicals were doing that years before, so it's not a change, it's nothing new. It's just glossy, poppy, more subtle. Nu metal had passed by this time. It's not my favourite Linkin Park album, but it has moments. That is at number 8. At number 7, we're going to move swiftly. An album that has to be included. It's Collision Course with Jay-Z. I think this album was detrimental to Linkin Park ultimately ditching nu metal, because I think they felt once Jay-Z was rapping and they were like, right, this is the craftsman now, this is the guy who does it really, really well. Then they realised we're going to go for a different approach because maybe we've outstayed our welcome in rap rock, we're going to change it. But this album is absolutely brilliant. It actually works. No dirt off your shoulder, big pimping, paper cut. Jay-Z's style suits Mike Shinoda's layouts and how he constructs everything. Joseph Hahn, the beats and the whole construction, the whole production. It suits Jay-Z's flow. The songs mesh well together. They're carefully crafted. Numb and Encore was great. It just fits the tempo. It fits the delivery of Jay-Z, the swagger, gigawatt, faint, big pimping, paper cut. It's all laced so the beat fits the layers, and Jay-Z's voice and songs suit the songs of Linkin Park. I think they were a bit overwhelmed with him being there. Thought, oh shit, like Jay-Z, you could see it. Chester couldn't dance, unfortunately. Yeah, he didn't. But apart from that, he was a great singer and a great vocalist. But sometimes when I watch it back on the live DVD of Milton Keynes, and they're really trying to like am with him, and he's just like Jay-Z was a presence. But it works. Listen, the songs work for each other, and when they stuck to doing their own thing with him and not trying to be him, they were brilliant. But I thought it overwhelmed them. Jay-Z stars on this a lot. I think he takes over a lot of the songs, which he didn't need to, but this is a good album. At number 7. At number 6, an album that pretty much surprised me when it came out, The Hunting Party. I'm going to give this the benefit of the doubt. It was a step forward. Keys to Kingdom, All for Nothing, Guilty All the Same, The Summoning, War, Wastelands. I really like Rebellion with Darren Malakine. That meshes well because he was going for more of them. With the Oriental sound, Linkin Park infused, the Armenian vibes, it sort of has a worldly sound, and Darren Malakine fits a lot of that. If you're going for that epic worldly sound, he's great. There's some good songs on this. Drawbar's good. It's not the strongest piece of work for me at all. That's why it's at number 6. They didn't do many albums, obviously, because they came, they saw, they conquered. Record sales, sold out concerts. But The Hunting Party is decent. It has some good layers, some good rock songs, just not consistent enough for me. At number 5, this album shocks me again. They were saying it was like Radiohead. It was very ambitious. It's a good run as well. It's a good album for running to, actually. It's really good. More like a holiday brochure album. Really surprising though. The Requiem, the Radiance, Burning the Skies. I'm talking about 1,000 Suns, guys. This album was really ambitious, and at the time it just seemed to all the songs mesh into one. It's more like a concept. Giornado del Muerto, Waiting for the End is good. I love Fallout, The Catalyst is superb. I love The Messenger. Wretches and Kings, Blackout, Robot Boy, When They Come For Me, Empty Spaces. There's some good stuff. It takes Lounge and Elevator and then just moves it into sonic spurts. This is like Linkin Park, mixing Radiohead, touch of Deftones, going for more maturity after another album that came before it. They was really trying to go into the motion soundtrack vibe now and just exploring the brand, because Linkin Park were genius at marketing and branding. That this is where they really came. Everything was always, how far can we go after this now? They were always one step ahead of the game, whether it was endorsements, whether it was branding, logos, with the graffiti, with the street teams. Everything was future. No matter what they were doing, they was always planning that next step, how they was going to evolve, basically. And that's exactly what they did with most albums. Some for the better, some for the worst. I'm a bit half and half with this album. I think, yeah, it's good. And then bits I think, yeah, that could have been took off. It doesn't fully do it, but it's good. At number 4, Linkin Park goes U2. Massive. They went U2 on this. This is probably the most beautiful we heard Chester sing. The Little Things Give You Away, the closing song really was nice and good, and it showed you above the screaming. When he wanted, he could sing really, really nice. It was sort of a, like I said, like a nightingale, nice voice, high-pitched, babyish at times, but really nice. And the stuff on this is hit and miss. It's the going U2 and Coldplay. They'd figured nu metal was done by this point. They'd already conquered it. Why not go for that stadium sound, which elevates on the live stuff? Why not take it further? Try something different. Because if you do the same, you're going to get ditched as being the same old new metal. They tried, and in spurts, this is fantastic. Not in every song, I'm not going to lie, there's some songs where I think, okay, we're milking the ballads here, but they were going purely for, I do think Coldplay comes to mind in this, and U2. They were definitely going for a different approach with it, more gentle, but more. The only song I don't like on this is No More Sorrow. I think it tries to be too metal, doesn't fit with like What I've Done, perfect Transformers song. Leave out all the rest, Giving Up starts it off, Wake's good, Bleed It Out I like, it's fun. Shadow of the Day is nice, bit like With or Without You by U2. And Hands Held High, could have been Nas. I love that song, emotional, great, it's a great song. It's Mike Shinoda's trademark, simple but effective lyrics, that he just had great delivery with the most generic style, but it works because it was just straight. The lyrics are really easy to get, and that's quite hard to do. The lyrics are really, really distinctive and to the point, and not trying to over babble with too many multis. Simple breakbeats, simple rhymes. Sort of like Limp Bizkit in that way, but a bit more mature. They never cursed on records. It was always about atmosphere and reflection with Linkin Park. Hands Held High, No More Sorrow, I don't like, but I love Valentine's Day. In Between, I like. In Pieces. In Pieces, love it. The Living Things Give You Away. The Little Things, sorry. This is a good album. This is mature, but they suit it because they became better musicians as part of it. And shows before this, they was always good in the studio, and that's where Linkin Park shine. And then live, they just create it like they're playing in the studio, but tenfold. Linkin Park are brilliant at that. Number 4, Minutes to Midnight. At number 3 is an album which I'm surprised is there. It took a few listens, but I'm talking about Living Things. This brought it back. This brought back the old school with the new. So you had Thousand Sun vibes. You also had Minutes to Midnight. But they brought it back, and they brought it with the old school, so they meshed it really well. The Skrillex stuff, and you could see there was an influence on a lot of new generation bands coming out, Paramore or whatever. There was a lot of bands that I Prevail, a lot of bands that basically had their, even Lost Prophet, their platform. They heard Linkin Park and it was like, okay, now we can do a ballad and like Bullet for My Valentine. It opened a whole new wave for bands to just like try more of the softer stuff but still be heavy. This album's great, the production on it, Lost in the Echo, In My Remains, brilliant, love it. Burn It Down, like Castle of Glass. 'Cause I'm only a plant in this castle of glass. Lovely, Victimised. Yeah. But Roads Untravelled, that I really like. Just that choral harmony, really. I've always liked the sincereness of LP. That's why I'm in the LP dojo. Long story. Anyway. The Street Team. I wasn't on the Street Team, by the way. It's LP dojo. Anyway. Tinfoil, Powerless. Great album. Really nice. Really cinematic, this album. And it works. But at number 2, we're going to go with, and it's hard, but I'm going to go with the most impactful of all, Hybrid Theory. Fucking hell. And when I first heard this, like I said, I was blown away by the whole slickness, pop, the metal. I was used to that, but not as well crafted, not as coherent, not as like with the crossovers and the way it worked, and everything was just, the timing was so sick. This album, Hybrid Theory, just half an hour of pure non-stop majesty. Just like new metal class. It was just, whatever you said about them being a pop rock band, whatever, I think that just came from the fact that they were that damn good at what they did. They were that slick. It was almost too good to be true. I've seen them live twice, and they at Leeds, back in the Deftones. They were brilliant. it was like, fuck, you had to see it to believe it at times. Like, these are really crafty live, considering it's the first support slot in the UK. Yes, it was the first gig in the UK. It was the first gigs on this tour. So we're going back, baby. Of course I'm going to gloat. I was standing. Taproot were good. I'd had to follow Linkin Park, blew them and the Deftones off stage. So everything about it, the whole like Abercrombie and Finch, like the image, the industrial as well, wasn't the best image, I'm not going to lie, but it didn't matter because the songs were that good. In the end, Colossal, Points of Authority, With You, I heard it on the Garang CD, One Step Closer, Paper Cut, Forgotten, Cure the Itch, Pushing Me Away. This was slick to the max. It was a lesson in how to craft huge melodies with absolutely like infectious, and the whole pace of it just from start to finish, just boom, hits you, gets out, you're done. Hybrid Theory at number 2. And at number 1, debatable, but for me, this is the album where Linkin Park truly cemented the legacy as a crafty band, even on the Rock and Ring. This was the album where it said, okay, we're going to do the same as what we've done, sort of part 2, but we're going to take it that bit more atmospheric and leave you wanting more and show you what we can do. Meteora. This is where they became savvy. This is where they became, okay, we know what we're doing now with the image. We're going to take it further. We're going to go with a manga, like Akira or whatever. The graffiti, the whole image, the street team did its work here, they cemented it. And every song on here, apart from maybe Hit the Floor, don't like. But it's a band taking Hybrid Theory and really going with it. They really went with it on this and took it as far as it could go in terms of nu metal, rap and rock. This was their greatest hits of nu metal for me. Don't Stay, Somewhere I Belong. Again, 2 just huge anthems. Lying From You, again, not as good, but still keeps it, the momentum. Hit the Floor, I don't like, but I love Easier to Run. It's grown on me over the years. If I could change a word, with the name I would. Take every wrong move that I made, I would. If I could... Just takes you to the story, and then big chorus, well crafted, smart, savvy, slick. Figure 9, like, faint. You just go it and then breaking the habit from the inside. And the Nobody's Listening and session sort of like Cure the Itch and Pushing Me Away. But a little bit more mature and knowing. I love Josie Fan was pivotal to this band's success with the layers and how he did it live. Like Rock and Ring, where he does Paper Cut with a different sample, like a movie. Just, it's like epic. When you first heard it, he always used to change it up live, and you hear that they were just making it just always continuous, so you always felt like it was an ambient thing as well. And then to end it with Numb, you've ended it on a big one, which for me outdoes Pushing Me Away and Cure the Itch and Forgotten. The last 4 on this outdo. Maybe not a place for my head. But it feels rushed at the end on the first one, where the second just feels more like, okay, we've owned the movie now, we've seized it off with a proper ender, and then they could mature. But in terms of all the body of work, there's about 1 song I'm not keen on. On the first album, there's not many either, to be honest. There's only, By Myself I like, Forgotten, This Is Hard. I just feel like the ballads on this actually work better on Meteora, even though you've got Crawling and In the End. They're in between Runaway and By Myself, whereas on this, you get, I don't know, it just fits for me. Easier to Run, then Faint, something different, something a little less predictable, more modern. Figure 9, Breaking the Habit, Figure 09, Breaking the Habit, like some Duran Duran shizzle or something, or whatever. Or Depeche Mode. From the Inside, Nobody's Listening, I love. Session, and then Numb just kills it, man. Give or take on any given day. For me, it's Meteora, but it's a slight edge. That could change at any point. These were the best days of LP. If you saw them live, then... Whoa! Hey, I'm going to brag, I saw them live then, and they were supporting. You can check that out on YouTube. I might put it out up. The sound recording from the Manchester Apollo is on. God bless Chester Bennington. He was unique, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to go into a big thing. They were just good at what they did. It's that plain and simple. They were just expertly precise at what they did. They always brought the energy, the crossovers, and you always felt like you were part of something cinematic when you were watching them, as opposed to just bopping. You know, mate, the samples helped it. It really did. Later helping Fort Minor, helping Mike Shinoda with Post-Traumatic, and it just, yeah. Live in Texas, great DVD there, as you can see in the background. I'm trying to do it. It's there, you can see it. Yes, you can see it, it's there. There you go, live in Texas. Yeah, I loved this band when I was growing up. They were so good. I loved Slipknot. In fact, you were sort of made guilty for liking these up, like if you liked Slipknot. It was one or the other. It wasn't, it was both for me. I liked all new metal and rock and indie and rap. So they just fused it all just well enough for you to enjoy every aspect. The raps weren't actually corny, they was quite precise. And it always kept the energy consistent. This band were sound pioneers at the time. They changed the way music was going to be, I think, in cohesion with like movies and just the marketing and the modern blueprint of how it's done, top notch with everything. LP came. This is my favourite album, second, Hybrid Theory. Goodbye. God bless Chester Bennington. That's all I'm going to say. Tell me what you thought, guys. Put in your comments. What is your favourite LP album? Peace.